Yuso was out today for roster management. Can you say anything about his status and if it was trade or waiver related?
I can't. That's a better question for Chris.
What have you made of his play so far this season?
I think it's been sporadic. You know, it's a competitive situation, and you know, as you guys know, we tried him a lot in the middle early on. You know, we were exploring options for that third line center role, and we felt that, you know, the way Lab's game evolved over the course of training camp, we thought Labs was the best option for us. We moved Parse to the wing, and you know, I think the wing position in that bottom six has been competitive. And so, you know, when he's been in, he's had games where we think he's played very well. He's been strong on pucks, and you know, we try to define the expectations for those types of players, and it's about, you know, reliability, dependability, a lot of the little things, winning the wall battles, getting to the net front, being good on the forecheck, having some physicality, a willingness to block shots, you know, and then some just reliable play on the defensive side of the puck. And so, you know, I think he's had some games where he's played very well for us. Some of the other guys that have been in the lineup have also, and that's where the decisions lie, right? So I don't think it's anything more than it's just competitive with some of the guys that we have, and we're trying to make the best decisions for the team as possible.
Will he travel with you to Carolina?
I don't know the answer to that.
With Jonathan going out, do you envision Igor's workload increasing, or do you want to utilize Dylan Gruden the same way you utilize the
I'm not sure yet. We're going to take each game as it comes. We'll probably make decisions on a game-by-game basis. What I will tell you is I think because we've managed Shesty's workload to this point fairly well, you know, if anyone's in a position to you know, to take on more of a workload, I think Shesty's postured to do that, and that's a decision we'll make in time.
When you look at last night, you talked about tightening things up, going back up the games. How encouraging was it that you were able to kind of get that type of effort?
Very. I just think it's when you look at, you know, the way the season's played out to this point, it's been a tale of two teams, and I think, you know, early on, the first dozen or so games, 12, 13 games, I feel like, you know, the game that we were putting on the ice, the identity that we were trying to build was giving us a chance to win. You know, we would create, as I've said to you guys on numerous occasions, I sound like a broken record, but I feel like I know we created a lot of offense. We just didn't score a lot of goals. And then on the flip side of it, we were very stingy defensively. You know, low events, you know, we were cutting down on quality and quantity of looks. And I think that game gives us the best chance to win. You know, when you look at the road trip we had, and maybe it's because we didn't score goals, just trying to rationalize it and figure out, you know, where we're at from a mindset standpoint. You know, these guys put a lot of pressure on themselves to score, and when it doesn't go the right way as far as finishing, I think their intentions are in the right spot. But I think, you know, we evolve into playing an East-West game. A lot more risk, and we gave up a lot more. Not only did we not generate as much offense, but we gave up a lot on the defensive side as well. So I just think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that if we play the game a certain way, we will create offense, and we'll be a lot stingier defensively. For me, that gives us the best chance to win.
Do you expect JC or Williams to be available tomorrow?
That right now they're you know, day by day. So yeah.
Are they traveling?
Yes.
With when you stretch Edstrom in Vegas, beyond even the goals he scored season, I guess, what have you liked that you've seen from him since then?
Just more urgency and a little bit more detail to his game. You know, we're trying to utilize those guys in some defensive situations. Maybe we could take guys like Mika and JT and Troach out of some of those minutes. Those aren't easy minutes, and you know, that's a vitally important role. I think that our bottom six could help us, and I think that those guys, Sam Carrick's line with the size that's on that line, the size, the reach, they have the ability to play that role for us. And so, but it takes attention to detail you got to know what you're doing in the defensive zone. Everybody's got to play their position. You got to have a certain awareness and making sure that positionally you're in the right spots. You have good stick detail, things of that nature. Their size and their reach, I think by nature of that, it makes them hard to play against. So they're capable of that. We put them in those situations last night a few times. They played against, St. Louis's top six on a few occasions because I was trying to take our top six out of those minutes and potentially deploy them on the offensive side. And I think when Eddie is locked in from a defensive standpoint and with the details, I think he's a very effective player. And the other thing that we've seen from him is, and I've said this to you guys have asked me what we've liked about him, he's a disruptive player. And he's capable of that with his skating and his reach, his range. He has physicality to him. He can get in on the forecheck and he can disrupt breakouts. He can create loose pucks. And within that lies opportunity, right? And I think they're a line that, could help us create momentum by wearing down our opponent and being disruptive in all three zones. And I think that's when Eddie's at his best.
We talked to him and he mentioned that he thought being scratched might end up being a good thing. What do you want players to do when they're scratched? Like, how can that help them?
Well, what I'll tell you is I think, we try to communicate with our guys on a regular basis as far as defining expectations, giving them feedback on performance, and then we try to make decisions that we think are in the best interest of the team, but also the players, to try to capture their best. And, there's levels of accountability, there's tools of accountability that coaching staffs have in order to try to make that happen. Well, one tool in the bag is ice time. And I think players respond to ice time or lack thereof in the event that there's a circumstance where we don't think they're meeting expectations or whatever it may be. And so, I'm not one that's a big proponent of, benching guys when they make a mistake or things of that nature. I think it's a game of mistakes. Everybody's going to make them. We talk about intentions a lot with our guys, and are our intentions in the right spot? We understand that, it's an imperfect game. It happens fast out there, and everybody makes mistakes. For us, it's about how do you respond to them, and what are your intentions, and those are the conversations that we have a lot with our guys. But ice time is one measure of accountability, and so I think, you can communicate with players different ways. We try to communicate with them verbally and explain, the whys and why we feel the way we feel, and we try to use evidence through the video, to suggest to them, here's why we think the way we think, and so that they have a clear understanding of what their role is and what the expectations are. And then it's about performance, and performance matters. We're trying to put the best guys on the ice that give us the best chance to win. And so that's really the process that we go through. And we have X amount of players on our roster, only 12 forwards and 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies can play. So it's competitive. I think it's the best case scenario because that internal push keeps all of us at our best. When there's competition, healthy competition is a good thing for our organization.